EYNOLWADEN, Tunisia, October 30th, 2019. I am EYNOLWADEN, and I come to smile and dance in everyone's heart. So listen to me, and, above all, hear me. Close your eyes, and let your heart smile, at my presence that dances and twirls, in the liveness of the instant, in the subtlety and intensity of who you are and who I am, because from now on there is no longer any distance, from now on there is only joy, that of the good news that spreads from heart to heart, and that resonates in the space of your world as well as in each world, in all the rhythms of creation, in the dance of the stars and in your dance. I am what dances and spins, in the liveness of your heart, and in the brightness of your inner gaze. Listen to me, hear what I have to say to you, beyond my words, hear the dance of my words, hear the dance of the smile that blooms, like an eternal flower, in the heart of your being, then feeding the ineffable truth and beauty. Today, you discover yourself to be space, you discover yourself to be from everywhere and nowhere at the same time and in the same silence, as in the same dance. Come with me, you don't have to move, you don't have to move, you just have to open up, without pitfalls and without breaks. Then at that moment you will be carried away in the dance of eternal life, beyond any dream, as beyond any form. I come to invite you again to pronounce my name, because this name is inside you, it participates in the first dream as in the last dream, in the first form as in the last form, in the first burst of light and in the first burst of laughter of life, which sustains itself, traveling all paths, and all destinies. Here, listen to yourself, what you are saying, the silence of your heart, which is only the symphony of life, the symphony of movement, but also of what is motionless. Hear yourself, you have nothing to do but be there with me and smile at life, and smile at my words, beyond any word, as beyond any reflection. Let yourself be penetrated, for you are what is penetrating, and which can never fail. I invite you to the dance of the elements, but not only. In the dance of your body as in the dance of life, your every symphony and every note, your every space between every note, you are from everywhere as you are from nowhere. Because between everywhere and nowhere there is no difference, there is no time that can flow in one way or another, you don't need memory, you don't need history, you just need to be there, where I stand with you, in the embrace of freedom, where nothing can be retained, where nothing can be added. Here, listen to what I say to you, beyond the words I say, there is the word/verb, and this word/verb is silence, and it is magnificence. Hear me out. Hear the liveness of your heart, which pulsates and beats, while maintaining its immobility. You're all the movements, but you are also all the rest. You're each and every one of you, not only in the human form but in every form, as in every dream, beyond what you can perceive and feel. You're at the very source of what you perceive, or what you refuse and accept. It makes no difference, it does not put any distance, and it does not make time. And don't worry, because there is nothing you can do about it, except to remain in this perpetual joy, where you can only recognize the evidence of life in your life, and of your life in the heart of life. So, listen and hear what I say to you. This is the time for rejoicing in the final celebration of all the dances you have led, to their end, in all the dreams of creation, in all the sufferings, as well as in all ease. Entrust all your burdens to me in the heart of your heart, as in the heart of each one. You do not need to name them, you do not need history, you do not need to remember, but simply to remember what you have always been, in whatever veil you have worn, in whatever wandering you have covered, as in whatever victory you may have conquered. Let me cradle you in the song of unspeakable silence, where all the symphonies sing the same chorus and verse. There is your freedom, there is mine, it is the same from everywhere and nowhere. So beloved, you who are loved beyond good and evil, I invite you to love yourself with the same intensity as my words travel through you, like a regenerating wave, like a source that will never leave you in thirst and in oblivion. It is now time to forget what has only just happened. It is now time to rejoice and participate in the dance, the one that knows no end and no beginning, where everything is motionless, and yet containing all the movements of life, where there is neither life nor death, but simply the evidence of this endless dance, and no beginning. Then here, listen, and let the joy blossom through the pores of your skin in this form, which you inhabit. Let me be who you are, beyond all appearance and distinction, where no limits or boundaries can seem to separate us, no longer can seem to distance us. In this there is in all times, beyond all past and future, only the presence is present, the one that combines absence and at the same time happiness, where you can no longer set limits, where you can no longer set frames, because all of them have shattered, before laughter and your smile, the one of your heart found, in the joy of your eternity, before manifestation, and after any manifestation. Let yourself be carried away beyond all time and space, for you fill time and space with your laughter. Where you are not, and where you are not, it no longer makes any difference, for there is no longer any distance. Here, and let the water of love flow, the water from above, which comes to fertilize what could never be sterile, and what could never be divided. Remove yourself beyond all divisions, in order to be unified in the joy of your presence and absence, which also leads to the same dance, in the same obvious way. Come and rest, where you will no longer need to ask yourself any questions. Because there everything is obvious, where you recognize yourself, in this lightness. Then let your eyes sparkle with malice, sparkle with innocence, and sparkle with truth. Do not worry about anything other than what is there, and which only wants to blossom every minute and every day, with equal intensity, and every day more magnificent, and every day more true, and every day so intense, and yet so light, within this density, in which your body is placed. I invite you to lay down the final burdens, those of your reticence, your ultimate reticence, which cannot be maintained, because love collapses every barrier and every limit with the same intensity, and with the same look. Look at yourself, in order to see me, where I am, where you are, in every space, at all times, wherever you look, whatever you feel and feel, whatever you live or do not live, it no longer makes any difference, nothing can miss you and nothing can be taken from you, every moment must be filled, by itself and by the beauty of it. What you cannot define, what you cannot name, is the unspeakable, and it contains every name, and it contains every form, as well as every world. Rejoice, announce the good news, first to your heart, which perhaps still hesitates, and second to each cell of this body within this form, within each dream you will travel through in your nights, for never again will you be in the night, for never again will you be wandering, because you will never again be in the question, because you are the answer to all the questions you ask yourself. There is nothing more to ask, everything has been deposited in the fire of love, the one who consumes the dream, and who restores you to what you have always been, despite the appearances of your dream. I have come to invite you again, today, at this moment, as if to every breath and every look, as if to every day that will rise, as if to every moment of your life, when life will burst in without asking you for your opinion, because life knows better than you what you can want, or what you can desire, beyond any expression, as well as beyond any manifestation. Then be present, because it is my present within your presence, so that you may discover that presence can only be based on absence, where no limit, bodily or of worlds, as of dimensions, can alter or modify the truth. You're invited to the solemn and perpetual banquet of the truth celebrated, where the choir of angels singing the Paraclete, sing the same dance, that of the resurrection, for in the end you were never born nor ever died, only illusion was born and died, at each rebirth you were reborn in totality. You no longer need to be reborn, you no longer need to die. You need to celebrate, with the smile of your lips and the opening of your heart, with the look of your eyes and the look of your heart, where there is nothing to see but the unfolding of life, only the unfolding of the dream. I invite you to liveness, the one that has never left you, despite the density of this body, despite its opacity, because everything is transparent, and everything is crystalline, in the same note as in every note, in all figures and numbers, with the same intensity, in infinity as in zero, it no longer makes any difference, because the alpha has fused into the omega has joined the alpha. In reality they'd never moved, they were there to support you in the dream, to support you in every suffering and in every joy, linked to your ephemeral. This ephemeral one that you so loved, or feared, with equal intensity, depending on the circumstances of life that made your life. Today you are that, and much more than that. Today you are that, and much more than that. You cannot count yourself or even measure yourself, you cannot distance yourself, you cannot come closer, because you are in the very right place, in the heart of your being, where non-being comes to support and sustain what you believed you endured, and what you believed you suffered, with such intensity, which cannot be maintained before the brightness of your smile, and the brightness of your inner life. Could me, because you are only hearing yourself, beyond all appearances and speeches, whatever you think, whatever you say, there is no longer any reluctance, there is no longer any resistance that can be maintained, because everything is consumed, in the same joy of love, in the same love of joy. Come and celebrate, at every moment that you inhale or exhale, it is the same thing, and the same rhythm, the one that your heart has adopted in the waltz at 1,000 times, or the choir of angels, is a perpetual celebration of the spirit of the sun in the impersonal, beyond any person, as in any person, because in the end, and you know it, there has never been anyone, if not the dream of a person, which is everyone's dream. Listen. Listen and hear the good news that you are, and that you represent in every circumstance, in every minute, whatever your life, you are above all life, whatever your pain, you are above all joy. Let the wave of life flow through you, the wave that vivifies you, and regenerates you every minute, in the lightness of the innocent child, for you are innocent, whatever you think, whatever you say. These are only arguments, and no argument can be maintained in the truth of who you are. Beyond being, and beyond any suffering, I come to invite you again, as I will do every minute, to the perpetual agape, who does not know the form, and who travels through every space of the dream, with the same equality, and the same freedom. Listen. Listen to what the Song of Silence tells you, the one who opens your heart to infinity, for never again can he be held within your chest, for never again can he be enveloped by the veil of oblivion, for never again can he be enveloped by any form whatsoever, even the brightest and most ethereal. You are the ether, and you are the density, in every octave of the manifestation, in every plane or dimension, you have always been. You are the dream, and you are the dreamer, you are the one who conceived the dream, you are the one who lived it, you wrote the script, you wrote the score, you put the colors on it, you drew the line and the direction, in all directions of space, in order to always return to the starting point, where you have never moved, and where I am accompanying you, now. Listen, listen to the song of the water peoples, but above all, listen to your own heart. It is only there to remind you, by striking each blow into your chest, that you are much more than everything you can dream, that you are much more than everything you can imagine. There's nothing to fear, you just have to embrace this stranger who extends his arms to you, and who is now known to you. In this, you are complete and perfect. In this, nothing that passes can remain from now on, only you remain, in the abode of eternity, which knows, after having known all the abodes, only the abode of joy, the one you have never left. So you don't have to move, where you are, and exactly where you stand, and where I stand. There is no posture, there is no set, there is no condition, there is no conditioning. There is no rule, because the only rule is that of the dance of music, that of the score of liveness, where numbers mingle with letters, where the musical note takes the place of every space, and the place of every time, so that you understand that time and space are nothing compared to what you are, because you encompass this, in the same dance and the same liveness, with the same intensity, with the same joy. Listen, hear this great silence, this joy, which does not depend here either any framework, nor on any circumstance. So embrace yourself, in every presence here, as everywhere. Do not make any more difference, because any difference is in vain, because any difference is only suffering. There is no longer any reason, no cause, no justification for suffering of any kind. Whatever your disability, whatever your fullness, there is no longer any difference, there is no longer any condition. There is no longer a framework, there is just life, the one that has dreamed everything, the one that you are in totality, in the instant of grace, which will never cease. There is your celebration, that you have always traveled, in spite of wanderings and appearances. So settle down, where I come to rest, in the great silence of this joy that nothing can explain, and that nothing can measure. Silence. Here even, in the silence of my words. Don't hold anything back, let what passes through you pass, let what you feel pass, because you are beyond all feelings. There is nothing more to discriminate, nothing more to separate. All this was only a dream, all this just passed. And you do not pass, there is beauty, there is nowhere else, there is the good news, there is the good news. It does not need words, it needs you, in every moment of your life and life, as you are, in this natural state of liveness, whatever the density of your body, whatever can still touch in this body the memories and wounds, as the joys that have been lived within this life. This ultimate life, which is the result of everything you have created, everything you have written, everything you have traveled. Rest today, the time has come to put an end to time. The time has come to end your dream. You're the truth, and the truth is not dreamed. You're the truth, and the truth is not thought. You're the truth, and the truth is not felt. You're beyond the senses, because life knows no meaning or direction. Listen. Put yourself down. You have nothing to ask for, that is not already answered, in the intimacy of your heart. Rest in her happiness. A gapers from everywhere, and everyone wakes up, according to his rhythm, and according to his script. And I dance life, in the heart of your heart. And I blossom, in your lips that open to the smile of the yes, to the smile of the truth. You are water, but you are also air, you are fire, but you are also earth, and all this comes from the ether, because you are the ether, the so-called primordial ether, and the ether found today, within the deepest dream, where the light could never go out. Where love could never disappear. Even if it seemed to you to be lacking, it was there in profusion, waiting only for the right instant of your present instant, to reveal itself to you, in dance and lightness. I'm EYNOLWADEN, but I'm you, from all eternity. I have accompanied you in each of your ideas, in each of your dreams, silent, yet so intense. Silence. Get some rest. In eternal grace, in your presence and absence, where even your form can no longer separate you from anyone and any situation. Be available, in full, for the truth, whether you know it or not yet. All you have to do is be available, it knocks at your door, in the scenario of your life, in the scenario of your body, in all suffering, as well as in all joy, with the same intensity and regularity. Silence. Listen. Don't hold back, let the good news pass you by, you're the one you expected, you're the one you hoped for, and you're the one you feared. By your postures, and by your learning, which in fact were nothing more than repetitions to live this instant, to live this moment, which now reproduces itself from minute to minute, on the scale of your time, on the scale of your days, as well as on the scale of your nights. Silence. Listen to what the great silence tells you. Listen to his dance, listen to his rhythm. Nothing can belong to you, because you come from everywhere. You can't remember anything, because there's nothing to remember, and everything is now, in the space of here, and everything is present in the heart of absence. Silence. I'm all forms, because I have no form. I am the great mother geneticist, I am the child, who cries in silence and thinks she is abandoned. Because everything is only circumstance and a pretext to discover the beauty that you are. You can no longer doubt and you can fear nothing, from the instant you settle down, in the heart of grace, from the instant you have nothing to understand, nor anything to seek that is not already understood and already found in the space of your heart, in the heart of your chest. This is the consummation of love, this fire that never dries up, and that never dries up, but on the contrary fills you with life, and fills you with yourself as well as with each other, where you can no longer distinguish the slightest identity, nor the slightest form, for all the forms are included in it, within the first form. Silence. You are what remains, in everything you have named dead, you are what remains regardless of any birth. Silence. You have walked all the ways, you have faced all the relative truths, and you have lived all the possible lives, and yet you are the way, the truth and the life. You were every round of the dream. And you are the one who counted time and space, in order to understand that it had no substance or permanence, in order to grasp that you had nothing to stop, nothing to freeze. Crosses all sensations and perceptions. You are water, the water of Genesis and creation, the mirror water of life. You are fire, the one of friction as well as the one of consumption. You are the earth, clay that has not taken shape, like the earth of everybody and every planet. You are the fire of every sun, and every galaxy. You are the moment, that does not know time, you are the space that does not know distance or distance. You are the one who has seen everything, and yet does not need to see. You are the one who has thought everything, and yet does not think. You are the whole range and palette of what you call emotions, and yet you are without movement, you are all movements, and yet you are none of what you believed, experienced or traveled. Let yourself be crossed by this love that asks for nothing, and that does not account for anything, that no one can define, that no one can frame. He's from everywhere, he's from nowhere, just like you are. Silence. You're that intelligence that travels through worlds, supporting them, and loving them without making a difference, without making a distinction. You're the source of yourself as you're the source of all sources. You're the source of everyone, of your brothers and sisters as you call them, who are present at the same time as you, at this moment on this earth, whom you call Gaia. You no longer need to name yourself or to name yourself, because you have transcended all identity. You no longer need to ask, because all requests are satisfied, and you have nothing to fear, because you have already gone through everything. You just have to recognize yourself, beyond your identity, as any other identity. Silence. Hear what my silence tells you, which is the silence of your truth, the silence of your presence, the silence of your absence. Where everyone is everyone else, with the same equality, and the same smile. Where nothing can be excluded or missed. In this, you have always been complete, whatever you thought of it, whatever you suffered from it. There is no gain or loss, there is just that, in the dance of silence. Silence. Be gentle, because your nature and your essence are the sweetness itself. In this you will be true, beyond any discussion, and any questioning. You're everyone, you're every form, every setting, you're everything you can see, you're everything you can feel, being that, so you are anterior to everything that is felt and everything that is lived. This is the grace of the moment, of the present instant, because you are the grace, because you are life, beyond all birth. You have gone through everything, you have dreamed everything, you don't need to remember it, but simply to accept it. Then you will live it, and you will no longer ask anything, neither to yourself nor to anyone, but you'll be ready to answer every request that life will send you, whether it is in your days, whether it is in your nights, without asking you questions, without complaining, with liveliness, and the smile on your lips, and your eyes sparkling with the same truth, the same beauty. Every embrace, whether it is a tree or a brother or sister, will be celebrated without asking for anything and without expecting anything, because it has always been, and the veils have been removed. Silence. So the dance of silence, like the dance of the elements, brings you back to the unspeakable, where you have always been, and where you will always be. Honor everyone with the same diligence and smile, honor each instant with the same delight and lightness. Everything else is superfluous, and everything else is just passing through. This is the good news, which today is embodied in your body, in every plot, in every gesture, in every look and in every silence. Where nothing can be left behind, where nothing can be found, because you are the landmark. Thus each instant will be grace and celebration, spreading out what may remain of habits, within the form, as within the consciousness. Do not worry about anything else, for life will provide, from the instant you are true with the truth that you are. And freedom will be your daily lot, in every circumstance. You will be the immutable of grace, the immutable of the source, present in every movement, and at every hour, and in every relationship, which will become resonance and communion, despite any appearance and despite any distance that can be conceived, or put between you and the other, because there is no one else but you. Silence. You are the beauty of the unspeakable, that no word, no poetry and no color can translate, but simply, when you are there in silence, of your presence and absence, then everything is revealed, and you reveal yourself to yourself. It is in these depths that the seed sprouts, it is in this silence that all symphonies are born, and it is in this darkness that all colors are born, and fertilized. Silence. I leave the words, and the dance of my presence in the heart of your heart. There will be your grace, there will be your bliss, they are in every moment, where you reveal yourself, and where you are awakened. Silence. I am EYNOLWADEN, I am you, I am each of you, with the same reciprocity, and my words are now silent, and the word acts, in the silence of your heart, exploding into 1,000 colors and 1,000 symphonies, accompanying the waltz 1,000 times of your heart. Silence, I am you, who finds you, I am you, who has never lost you. I am you, who has never suffered, despite all appearances. So, will you never be able to forget, putting an end to oblivion, putting an end to all memories, as well as to all futures, because you are the future, which has come to yourself. Silence. You are the blessing, of the grace found, fertilized and sown in the hearts of everyone. There is only one heart, which has reproduced infinitely, to live the illusion of separation and lack. What is now, in what you are living, is beyond your wishes, dreams and research. I am EYNOLWADEN and I love you. And I am you. I will be silent now, so that you can never forget that you are awake. Silence. Through Jean-Luc Young. The Transformations. English translation, LMF.